The Leafs lost to the Ducks, their fourth loss in a row, and people are wondering if changes may be afoot. Monday morning, Leafs radio bring up the blue line yet again. Sheldon Keefe, they blew a 3-1 lead to Anaheim in Anaheim. They ended up losing 4-3 to the Ducks. Kyle Dubas declined any interviews after the game. And the game before that, they lost to San Jose in overtime. Sheldon Keefe called out the D yet again. I know they've had some injuries, but feels like a broken record with this team. Biz talking about the D over and over. Lost 4 in a row to the Ducks. What's going to go on here? Anything?
Dubas doesn't need to talk to the fucking media every week. I mean, guys, they're 1 point behind where they started last season, and everybody's going nuts in Toronto land. Hey, horrible road trip. But, I mean, if anybody has a fucking clue with what's going on and how they usually start the year, and the fact that the best player on the team is best friends with Justin Bieber and they're going to Hollywood, if you thought they were going to fucking win any games on that road trip, you're out of your mind. And if you didn't go hammer the opposition on Barstool Sportsbook, you're just fucking plain stupid. You know all those guys, all the kids online who are hating on the Leafs nonstop. When they go to Instagram, they if you look at their search page, it's all those fucking Instagram thoughts. Those were the girls that the Leafs were hanging out with in the last week in fucking Bieber land. So they were all fucked out, and yeah, they played like shit. It obviously seems like the back end had a great time hitting the clubs. Get it out of your system, because when they go back to Toronto, they can't do that. They're stuck in their little bubble. They can't even go out to eat. So big fucking deal. They're, what are they, 4-4-2 right now?
Yes, 11 teams
They're
have
500. That. Big fucking deal. They're notoriously slow starters. Austin Matthews got off to a slow start last year. What happened? 60. MVP. So that's all I got to say about the road trip and the current status of the team. Yeah, the back end's playing bad. Who fucking there's way bigger fucking fish to fry down the road here. I'm a fucking Stanley Cup and getting out of the first round. We know they're making playoffs. This is what they have to do in Toronto. It's the golden child of the NHL. It's like, oh, let's create drama out of a 500 record. Enough. I'm not getting into it. I hope they had a good time on their road trip. I hope they had a little team bonding going on, what was happening with Justin Bieber and all the celebrities they were hanging out with. But they were doing things that the people who listen to this podcast couldn't get up to in their wildest imagination. They got out of their system first couple weeks of the season, and now it's all focused from here.
Okay. Part of what you said I could actually buy into, in that this is an enormous overreaction based on how early we are and based on their start last year. But then when you get to not worrying and bigger fish to fry, and it's not a big deal about their defense, you're fucking crazy. That defense stinks. And yeah, they're without Muzzin. Who knows if he'll even come back? I don't know what's going on with Justin Holl.
He's the whipping boy.
No. He deserves to be the whipping boy right now, though. And that's coming from a whipping boy. I was a whipping boy all over North America. Fucking up, down, left, right.
And Russia.
No, I was a legend in Russia already. You got no idea what you're talking about. I changed that whole season around, made the playoffs as an expansion team because I came right around Halloween.
And then came home with Louis Vuitton luggage.
And then I came home with fake Louis Vuitton luggage. Biz, their D stinks. And wow. When you're talking about Mitch Marner, oh boy, is Toronto starting to turn on this guy. This guy, I hate to say it, I'd like to interview him someday, but I think I speak for many fans and many players around the league. He's an unlikable guy to watch play hockey.
Oh,
he's a fucking unlikable guy, dude. He does not have that factor that makes him easy to like. I'm telling you, that is not just coming from me. A wonderful player who hasn't started great. I mean, he's got 9 points in 10 games. People talking about like that. Those turnovers in Anaheim, coming off an absolute shit effort against LA, to just send Zegras in on a breakaway in the third period, up 2 goals. And then the whole, like, get the stick and walk back in the locker room and smash the stick because I'm so angry. The guy got benched for 1 shift, dude. Now, this isn't even his fault. This is on Keefe. How are you going to send a message benching a guy for 1 shift? Tell me how that works. You look at Philadelphia and how they're playing, and like you can mention their season probably won't continue the way it's been. But Tortorella, you think if he benches a guy, it's going to be for 1 fucking shift? What is that? That's zero accountability. You bench a guy, you bench a guy. And this team is so lacking of depth. That's my issue. You know who they miss? You know who is the biggest fuck up them not re-signing? My boy in Edmonton, who scored in 4 straight games, Zach Hyman. That's the type of player the Leafs don't have. And the bottom 6 is horrendous. If the top 6 aren't scoring, you know that they're not getting goals. The top 6 can't score 5-on-5 right now, and the D suck. Sweet team.
Well,
I'm sure it's going to be, yeah.
Well,
it's going to be right through the first round onto back-to-back cups, like Biz said before the year.
Last year, exact same conversation. They're 1 point behind where they were last year. And I believe,
think it's something about
I believe
it's
they
different,
finished.
Busy.
I believe what they finished with a franchise record 115 points after a similar start last year. Enough. Now,
if you don't think something seems a little different,
listen,
I think you're fooling yourself.
One thing that I will agree with is most people's public opinion. I'm going to throw it over to you for what's been going on in the media, RA. I'll let you kind of bring everybody up to speed. There's been some rumblings.
First off, what I love that I'm so mad I'm going to go off camera and snap. I mean, snap on camera. Let people show how mad you are.
And I feel bad saying what I said.
He probably went to the back of to the locker room to tape a stick, and everybody's overreacting, making up a story about him going to smash shit.
No, he admitted to it after, I believe. And all right, you could take this over, but Biz, I just want a quick yes or no. You think Marner's a super likable guy to watch play around the league? Fan bases, like players, take them all included.
Okay, so are you putting him in the same realm of like Zegras in like the cocky antics that might rub off the wrong way to the opposition to where they want to cave his face in?
Yeah, I think he just seems like a cocky, kind of entitled player.
So, hey, listen, maybe he's divisive in the way
and
that
he's a hell of a player, dude. I said it.
Yeah, but you know what though? Same thing last week with Dubas showing emotion in the box, and you didn't like that. You're just a fucking Leaf hater.
No, I said Dubas. It's going to be a long year if you're flipping out Game 4 against Dallas or whatever it was. I mean.
Well, I think that he was showing emotion based on something he didn't like on the ice, just as much as when Mitch Marner, when the crowd's booing him at home a little bit before they got going. I think it was the second or third game into the season, and then he pots one in the third, and he turns around and goes to the crowd, and he's like, well, where the fucking boos now? I love that shit, man. That's what fucking makes the engine run, baby. And that's why we're here fucking talking about it.
You see Leafs fans turning a dime on people. And someday you may see it on Mitch Marner, and you say you heard it here from Witt that the Leafs fans, it's all starting to turn on Mitch Marner.
It ain't going to happen when Hall's there because he's taking all the shrapnel right now. He is just taking body shots.
He's taking.
So I'm going to send. Hey, Hall, you listen to me, buddy. I'm going to send some positive juju your way. Ignore the noise. Ignore the fucking haters. It's probably just half of them are bots. So don't even worry about it.
Sandine should be catching.
Elon Musk is going to take care of 50% of those messages that you're getting and the hate you're dealing with online. I got your back. Positive juju coming the Leafs way. They're going to go on a little bit of a ripper. I would say don't buy now. Give it 2 more games and then start hammering away. All right, we didn't get to the rumblings.
We'll get to that in a sec. I know G was trying to chime in there.
I was just going to say Marner did admit to smashing the stick. He said, sometimes you got to take your frustration out. I'm a passionate player. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I wasn't happy with that second turnover, especially.
There you go. He's taking accountability. He's not crying about getting benched one shift. He was probably like, bench me more. Give me more pain.
So Luke Fox from Sportsnet, each night brings scrambled lines, uneven pairings, and sloppy results. The other guy, Hornsby, saying this team might win eventually, but it's not a team you're going to be afraid of in the playoffs. Well, one big name just happens to be making some appearances on podcasts lately. He says, oh, by the way, I'm intrigued by coaching an original 6 team. And that would be Barry Trotz. He went on with our friends Cam and Strick, and he said, well, I could have had my own bear if I went to Winnipeg, which is an absolutely hilarious trick. I could have been Biz. Barry Trotz said I could have been Biz if I went to Winnipeg.
Hey, I said that there's one thing that I can agree on with most people is there are some rumblings. And the fact that Cam and Strick, great interview, great hockey podcast. And you don't think he left a little breadcrumb for us to reach out to him and interview him as well? I think he's doing John Shannon today. Like for Trotz to be doing the media rounds and basically going for the head of the snake.
let's break down what he said. He wanted to coach an original 6 team, right?
Would you want to coach in Canada? Is that something you would want to do? I mean, you've been in Nashville and some of these other quieter cities. Would you ever want to deal with everything that comes with it?
I don't know if any coach that takes a job in Canada ever wants to deal with it. I think there's like original 6. For me, I've never coached original 6. That would intrigue me.
Well, Detroit, Boston, and Chicago just hired new coaches this season. Marty St. Louis in Montreal is not going anywhere anytime soon. Gerard Gallant in New York with the Rangers seems pretty safe there. So there's one team he must be talking about. He's doing a podcast today. He's never really done a PR type blanket like this. So I don't know. It all points.
First of all, RA, that's some fucking detective work right there.
All right, that's big time journalism right there.
Holy shit.
Thanks. I'm like Shaggy.
He had to go through the 5 original 6 teams with their coaching situations minus the Leaf. You crushed that.
I'm a doobie. You know, just like Biebs has the believers, Dubas has his doobies, and I'm the ringleader on the doobie category. And if there's one thing I could be honest and open about is the fact that he's not necessarily the most loyal guy. He's in it to win it. And when did we learn that last? When he threatened the life of the Chicago GM, the new guy, when he let it leak that he was going after Marc-Andre Fleury last year before playoffs, and essentially going behind Jack Campbell's back and try to solidify the goaltending. Couldn't get him. It leaks out. Does it look bad? Sure. But you're trying to fucking win some hockey games. Do I think that he would fire his boy Keefe in no time if Barry Trotz was interested in coming to Toronto? I think it's going to happen. And if it does, and Trotz ends up going to Toronto, I think he's going to do some major damage in there, clean things up, provide some structure. The defense will be cleaned up in no time, and I think that they could go on to win a Stanley Cup. I predict, hot take central, I think he's the coach, at least by the deadline, and he leads the Toronto Maple Leafs to a Stanley Cup. Back-to-back Stanley Cups. Bank it, book it. It's happening. I don't fault Dubas for doing it. Barry Trotz will be the Maple Leafs head coach in no time.
We're like a parody show with Biz talking about the Leafs, and we still have to talk about the Yotes.
I want to say, Barry Trotz, when you take over the Toronto Maple Leafs and win back-to-back cups with Leafs Forever, guaranteed life supply of Big Deal Brewing on the house, my friend. Let's go, Leafs.
I actually will say, if Barry Trotz makes it very clear he wants to be the coach of the Maple Leafs, if somehow Dubas spoke to him, get it done. And get it done as soon as you can. You saw what he did in Washington, D.C. You saw him bring an offensively talented group that couldn't ever get it done to a Stanley Cup title. If Barry Trotz, the most wanted coach in the NHL last summer when he was turning down teams left and right, if he makes it clear, I want to coach that team. This sucks saying this because I don't know Sheldon Keefe. I don't want people getting fired, but you fire him today and you hire Barry Trotz.
I agree.
I don't know how you argue that. And I think Sheldon Keefe will coach in the NHL again, and he might coach all this year and lead the Leafs to back-to-back cups like Biz says. But when you got the guy that everyone wants as head coach, and you have a team that, while it's only 10 games, 9 games, is floundering like they are, you go grab Barry Trotz. And you stick him behind the bench and you give him a beer and you do whatever he needs and you maybe get a suit because he has no neck and just change, up.
Open invite to the future head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, because I don't think Dubas is going to let you come on the podcast once you get hired. So come on now. We'd love to chat with you. We'd love to solidify that position. And like I said, I think Doobie showed his true colors last year when he went behind Jack Campbell's back, and then the new GM of what's the GM, Davidson of the Blackhawks?
Yeah. Must watch Wednesday
Dubas
night.
threaten his life? I heard that there was an altercation in one of the tunnels. He fucking threatened his life. He said, if you ever fucking leak out inside information again, I'll stab you.
Brick killed the guy.
I will shank you with a knife from the media room, the media meal room, the plastic one.
Biz, what were we just talking about?
We're talking about the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup back-to-back with Barry Trotz.
Potentially.
Shit, I don't remember what I was going to say.
Hey, do you see Barry Trotz being hired as the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs? RA, yes or no?
Yeah, I do. This team doesn't seem to be responding to Keefe right now. He's calling him out. He's backtracking. He's doing all these media things, and they're just coming out with mediocre performances. They've lost 6 games. 4 of them were to teams that didn't make the playoffs last year. 2 of them were teams that lost in the first round. I know sometimes good teams play down to their competition, but they just don't look like a championship caliber team. And the ironic thing is they're getting the goaltending that I predicted they would from Samsonov. So I don't know, man. It looks like a team that might need a new listen. And like what you said about the Caps, Barry Trotz came into a high-end offense. They needed to learn how to win, to play defensively. It took them a couple years. They got it done. If I own the fucking Leafs, that's the move I'm making.
But last thing, because there's been a lot of Leafs chatter, but they are the storyline. They are the storyline right now. Number one, unfortunately for people who hate it, it's the truth. Last thing, you could actually look at Dubas being even more willing to get rid of Keefe if you wanted to take a look at the comments of being asked about possibly switching up the pairs of the D, right? And he said, well, I don't know what that would do. What would the difference in that be? And then after this game, you're saying the defense, they cannot, their first touches are horrible. They cannot get the puck out of the zone. Is that not a shot at the D that Dubas is giving me to work with? Like, hey, guys, like this is the D we have. They suck. I didn't pick them. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, I imagine Shanahan, he's higher up the train than Dubas. He can go over his head and fire, what's his face, Keefe, if he wanted to, right? He doesn't have to get a yes from Dubas.
He technically could, I guess, but I'm pretty sure that in most pro sports and NHL circumstances, like once you hire the GM, it's kind of his decision, all things hockey, I think.
Well, you could just fire them both.
Yeah. Oh, you can fire them both. There you go.
And let's not forget, Sheldon Keefe tried to eye gouge Merles in the minors. So I am not team Sheldon Keefe here. I am team
Merles
Trotz.
doesn't forget.
Merles does not forget.